So you'll be on a right side row, you'll knit a right side row, a wrong side row, and then switch yarns. So is that every 2 rows? Every 2 rows, I guess. Hey everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 78 of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. Wow. I guess I can believe that it's September, but I also can't. I don't know if that makes sense. It feels like it's going by so quickly, but I'm also like really glad that September is here and it's a brand new month. The last and the first days of the month are like my favorite because it's really nice to wrap things up, knitting and crochet projects included, but I also always wrap up my budget and record my goals, and then getting to start fresh on a new month. It's the best feeling. And I am in my head considering September 1st, the first day of fall, even though I know it isn't. Like, I know it's not even close, but I even have some tea today, even though it's actually really cool. I think it's like 80 degrees maybe right now because we just had some rain come through. It's probably hotter than 80 degrees. I have no idea what the temperature is, but I don't know. It'll be 100 later, but inside it's 77 and I am drinking tea. This is from Plum Deluxe. I love their tea. It's so good. And I think this one's called Autumn something, but look at this glass. It's a glass mug. I got this from my mother-in-law. I think she bought them as a set for like hot drinks. Obviously like hot drinks, but I think like for her bar. But she didn't want them anymore. And so I said I would take them because I'd been looking for glass mugs for tea and coffee. So very happy to have that, even though it'll get cold really soon. So I need to drink it up fast. So I have tons to show you this week. I had a very productive knitting and crocheting weekend, which is usually when I get a lot of my knitting and crochet done. So I'm super excited to show you that. So let's just dive right into it. I have 2 finished objects this week. The first are my shorty socks. These are the socks that I started during sock week, which was just a few weeks ago. And I did the first sock and then I completed the second one, I think on Friday or over the weekend. This is Malia Made It, Shark in the Water. Sorry, there's hair on them, on my long hair. Shark in the Water, which was the exclusive Sock Week 2020 colorway. So much fun. I used the leftovers from making myself a pair of longer socks to make these shorties for my sister. So these are going to go away until later on and I will give them to her for Christmas. Okay, details. So I did these cuff down. I did an afterthought heel so that I could use all of the same yarn. So this is all self-striping. I didn't use any contrasting yarn. That's why my cuff is so short. I just chose to do one color, one stripe in the cuff. And then I did, so it's 3 rounds for the cuff, like probably about 12. It's these 2 lighter blue stripes for the leg, and then I put some waist yarn in, did the foot, did the toe, then I came back and did an afterthought heel. I've got a tutorial here on my channel that shows you exactly how I did it, except that I changed one thing for this. I actually picked up an extra stitch. So instead of starting, like if you've seen the afterthought heel before, instead of starting like right where the waist yarn was and picking up like exactly how many stitches that I left, I picked up an extra one on each side. And on one side, that turned out really great, closed things up. On this side, I still have a bit of a hole. And I could adjust that. I could go in and tighten that stitch up, but I just thought that was interesting. So it was more of an experiment. So I might have to update that tutorial at some point to include that, because I think it does help overall. Like obviously there's a hole there, but to reduce the gaps in the afterthought heel. So those are all done. I'm going to put those away and probably give them to my sister for Christmas this year. I finished another pair of socks. These are for me, and guess what? They're crocheted. I can't even believe that I made crocheted socks. Like, I have been saying I'm going to do it for so long, and then it almost didn't happen. Now there's a bug in here, sorry. It almost didn't happen, but then I Malia came through and she had some yarn, and I was able to get it from her and start the sock during sock week. I didn't finish the first one, but I did get most of it done, and I'm really proud of myself. Again, this is Malia Made It. It's the same yarn of the knitted socks, except that it's a different base. This is the, oh wait, this is actually the other one, Platinum Sock. Is it? No, wait. Yes, Platinum Sock is the other yarn. This one, I thought that's the tag that I had. Oh wait, I have them both in here. My mistake. This one, and I need to grab all of those markers off of there and put them away, is the Sparkle base, and it is a little bit different. It looks and feels a little bit different. I really like it. So yeah, crocheted sock. This pattern is my first crochet toe-up sock by ROHN Strong. I would recommend it for your first crocheted socks. I found it, I mean, I had some trouble, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to crochet, but I made it through. I think the first sock I had to start the toe like 2 or 3 times. Second sock, no problem. Like I went right on through it. When it came to the heel, I did something different on each of the socks. Like I don't know exactly, I feel like one of them might have an extra row in the heel, but I'm not 100% certain. And I don't know which one I did right. I just know they came out slightly different. But you know what? I'm learning and it's okay. So I am not too upset by that. But yeah, it wasn't so bad. Like I find that crocheted socks from my like teensy experience with one pair to be very similar to like, I guess all the things that I like about knitting socks, I found that to be true in crocheted socks. I had to focus on the parts where stitch count changes, like the toe, the heel. But I didn't have to focus very much when I was just going straight through the foot or straight through the leg or doing the cuff. That was very, very easy. And so I feel like while I'm probably not going to convert to making crocheted socks very often, I do like that I have that as a skill now that I've done it. And I am definitely interested in trying other patterns and, you know, different types of heels and that kind of thing. So I need to actually wear these around, but I will tell you it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before I put these on my feet because it does not get cold here for quite a few months. But then I will definitely compare and see how they do compared to knitted socks. Crochet is just such a different fabric. But I did like that I could do contrast. So I did contrast for the toe, for the heel, and for the cuff. If you are making this pattern, there's a gusset, so I didn't change yarn in the gusset. So the stripes got a little skinnier as I increased stitches, but not too much. I feel like it's still, I feel like the self-striping still really comes across nicely in the crochet because, I mean, I think that self-striping yarns are really intended for knitting, but look how they came across in crochet. I think it's still distinctive enough and looks really, really good. And to me, that's an exciting discovery to be able to crochet with self-striping yarn and it still look really nice. So yeah, I was able to put in the contrast for the heel and for the cuff. So I think they turned out great. I'm really pleased with them. I'm happy that I finally can say that I did it and accomplish it because the first time I tried was not good, but I did it. So 2 pairs of socks completed over this weekend, and now I am just down to a handful, which I'll show you in a second. All right, let's go into whips. I have some old, some new, some soon to be cast on. So first I will show you one that I have been working on for a little bit and I haven't done too much on it, is the Incendiary tank by ERIN. This is my, now that my socks are all complete, this is my next top priority. So here it is, Incendiary tank by ERIN. I did do, I think my marker's on the inside here. Let me flip it around. I did a little bit. Where are you, marker? Progress keeper. There it is. I did a teensy little bit. Actually, I think all that I did was this morning. But what I did do is the mental math to figure out how I want to do my increases. So I've been changing quite a few things about this pattern. Basically, I've made the V a little bit shallower, and I've made the fit looser, and I've changed the armhole to make it not so deep and pointy. And so now I'm changing the body shaping. So The great thing about this pattern, besides it being like extremely easy to read and amazingly written, is that it has shaping in it. It has waist shaping, so like coming in from the bust, and then hip shaping coming out from the waistline. But I don't like things to fit tight. Sorry, my nose is itchy. I don't like things to be fitted, and I'm already making this quite loose, so I am doing A-line shaping. So already right now on the bust, this is pretty, it's pretty, you know, has a lot of positive ease, but if I don't change anything, if I don't increase any more, it's gonna get snug once it gets to my hips, because I have quite a bit of difference between my bust and my hips. Yeah, quite a bit. 10 inches maybe? Maybe more, maybe more. So what I like to do is add in A-line shaping to my sweaters. And by I like to do this, I mean I've done this like 2 times, but now I feel like I will always do it because it just makes things fit better. And it doesn't look like funny when it's on. It just kind of looks like it hangs straight and comfortable and doesn't squeeze on my body shape. So I figured out how to do that. Basically, I have my running markers in now on both sides. They look really nice on this side. They look really funny on this side because that's where I joined for the round. So they look a little funnier, but I'm keeping them so that I know when to do my increases. And I kind of just figured out I need to knit or crochet so many more inches, and I'd like to increase by this many stitches. And so how can I spread that out? So I'll be increasing 4 stitches, I think like every 7th round. That's just how it's gonna work out for me. But I will try it on as I go, and then I am beyond excited to add the ruffle. So this is now my top priority project. Okay, there's one before it that I want to finish up, but after that, this is like the top priority project to get completed. It's a new month, and I think I can definitely have it done before the end of September. So that's my new goal for the Incendiary tank. My other project that is the first priority is actually, I always find these in project bags, my AirPods, is another pair of socks. These are my helical Harry Potter socks, which I kept meaning to cast on all last week. Every single day it was on my to-do list. Cast on the helical socks, cast on the helical socks. And the reason that I didn't is that I'm making a tutorial on helical sock knitting. And so I needed to make sure it was like the right time of the day for me to film it and like I could get my mind right. So it took me a long time to actually start these. So I guess, did I start them? I might have just started them yesterday, Monday. I'm not even really sure, but I do have the tutorial started, and now I can just get to moving on them. I'm using 2 yarns from my Dragon Horde Yarn and Yarn Cafe Creations advent calendars from the past couple of years, and I've got 1 sock already finished. So this is what it's gonna look like. Since they're 2 very similar yarns, when I do helical knitting, which is just a technique for knitting in the round with 2 or more colors, it just looks like a different colorway. Like it's just blends together so nicely. And then I have this for the contrast colors. So I'm gonna be walking you guys through how to do that in my tutorial. So yep, that's started. And so that's actually the #1 priority. I wanna get these done. My goal was to finish all 3 pairs, the other 2 that you saw, plus this one by September 1st, which obviously is today, and obviously not, but that's okay. It was an ambitious goal for sure. So now I just like to finish them by the end of the week, by Saturday, or maybe by the end of the weekend, by Sunday is probably more realistic. And I think I can do that because then I have September socks, which I will show you in 1 second. But first, I wanted to show you my progress keeper. Look at this. This progress keeper is from Simply Serving, and it was sent to me by my friend Bethany. It was a surprise. This summer we did the Harry Potter reading challenge, and I was also working on the first sock. So I was doing Harry Potter knitting and Harry Potter reading, and Bethany was participating as well, and she was so thoughtful and sent me this from Simply Serving, and it's so cute. It's a little book, Harry Potter book, with the glasses and the lightning bolt, and then a Hufflepuff scarf because I am a Hufflepuff. So I just thought that was so sweet. So I've been saving it because when I got it, I think I had finished the first sock and I wasn't ready to start the second one. So I've been saving it. It's been clipped to my project bag. So now I can clip it into this project, and I'm going to use this thing all the time. Thank you, Bethany. I seriously love it. And it's just perfect because Hufflepuff socks, Hufflepuff scarf. We just got all of the themes stuff going on here. Okay, exciting stuff. I actually have some new whips this week. So the first one is my Weekender LITE, which is the sweater that I have picked to cast on first for the fall garment make-along, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I wanted to cast it on today, September 1st, but I knew it being a Tuesday and a work day, that was just not gonna work for me. Like, I don't have enough brain space to start something new typically during the week. So I started it on Sunday, and I'm really glad that I did. I haven't knit on it anymore since then. I really just wanted to get it started, and then I'm kind of gonna focus on my tank top for now, and maybe a little bit on this, we'll see. But oh my gosh, starting a new project is just the best. Like, that feeling that you get when you start something new, it's amazing. So I am using Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in the colorway Jackrabbit Heather. Yeah, I think it says it on there, Jackrabbit Heather. Looks like my hand is shaking, but it's not. It's just like the label's like going crazy. So here is the color. I think it just looks so great and like rusticy for the Weekender LITE, which is, I did say that, right? Weekender LITE. It's an Andrea Mowry pullover sweater. And I think it's gonna look really, really nice. This is a great affordable option for this sweater. The recommended yarn is, I think, is it a Brooklyn tweed or something? It's definitely like a higher end yarn, and I already had this, and so I was like, you know what, this is perfect. I love this. And I really haven't worked with Knit Pick Stroll before, so I didn't know like would I like it. I am loving it so far. So we'll have to see, you know, how it goes, you know, wearing the sweater and knitting a whole thing, but so far so good. It's a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, which is my favorite indie dyed base too. So of course I like it. Okay, so let's talk about this sweater. Actually, let me show you the bag. I've decided to go full on fall, and I've got another Harry Potter thing. This is from, I know it has the word you in it. Why am I blanking? Well, I'll have to put it on the screen. Ginger you maybe? Or maybe that's her Instagram name. Dang it, I can't remember. But I got this bag, I think last year, and I have clipped my Progress Keeper that I'm going to use. I don't know who the Progress Keeper is from. It could be Simply Serving, but I'm not 100% sure. Could be somebody else, my little pumpkin. So I'm like full on into theme right now. I'm ready. It's September 1st, let's go. But I have just barely cast on. This is either the front or the back, I don't know, haven't decided yet. They're the same. And I've also cast on for the other side. Where are you? Lots going on here in my bag. Here we go. So I've cast on for both because this took a special cast on technique, and I just wanted to have them both going. I had 2 needles already, so I was like, let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm really, really excited about that. I even did a little swatch, and I know some of you were asking if I could show how to swatch like this, because this is actually a swatch in the round, though it doesn't look like that. But that's why I've got all of my little crazy things going out to the side, because I actually did knit this in the round, but without having to connect it or do anything. It feels so good. I love it. So I'm really excited about this sweater. I think it's going to be great. But let me tell you about the cast on. So this is a tubular cast on. Let me see if it's focused. Tubular cast on is essentially a cast on you can use to make your ribbing look more store-bought in a way. Instead of having like that straight cast on edge from a long tail or a knitted cast on, the tubular looks like rounded. I don't know if I'm showing that super well. So there's definitely like a million different ways you can do it, and I've done it before, I think with waste yarn, and I've also tried it before without waste yarn, which is this technique here, but I have never ever been successful. Like, I have tried it multiple times over many years with different projects, and I've always gone back to the waste yarn one. But I'm so excited because I finally mastered it. I watched Andrea Mowry's tutorial that she had included in the pattern. It's free on her YouTube channel, so I can link it for you guys. But I will say I didn't get it right on the first try or even the second try. It took a couple tries practicing, and then I did a full thing and I saw some errors. And if you were watching my Instagram on Sunday, you saw me go through that. So that was fun. And when I realized I could do it better after I'd done the whole first one, I took it out and I did it again. And I'm happy I did, because I think my first time was too tight, and now it's like gonna be nice and even, like stretchy enough, but also even. So I'm quite pleased with it. But what I learned is it is hard to do it with a circular needle, but I don't have straight needles, and I'm not going to keep straight needles in various sizes just to do a certain kind of a cast on. So what I had to do is, my biggest struggle was, because when you do the tubular cast on this way, your stitches will start to spiral and twist. I could not count my stitches to see how many I had. When I went back across to do the first row, I found it actually pretty easy to see like which stitches I needed to knit or slip, but I couldn't count them. So I had to count as I cast it on, which was risky, right? So instead of like, normally when I cast on, I'll cast on like 50 stitches and then I'll go back and count, make sure it's 50, right? Well, this, I couldn't do that. So I was in silence. I would do it. I would cast on 50 and then put a marker in, and then cast on 50 and then put a marker in, and so on until I got what I needed. And then I did the first row, and then I counted and made sure I was right. And fortunately, it worked out both times because I didn't have distractions, but probably not the best way to do it. But that's what I had to do. So I did find it easier to untwist it as I went back through the first row, but I did not find it easy to like untwist it and count. So give it a try. I guess my moral of the story there is, if there's something that you are unable to do, even if you've gone back and tried it many times over many years, every so often, give it another try. That might be the time that you get it. So I was really pleased that I was able to accomplish that tubular cast on, and I think it's gonna be beautiful for that sweater. Last project, and it's really not even a whip yet because I haven't cast it on, but I wound it up this morning. These are going to be my September socks. So I wanted to get my socks done, even though we know I didn't, by the end of September or the end of August, so I could start new socks for September. But you know what? I'm still starting new socks for September. I just have one other sock to finish up, so I think that I can get it done. After sock week, you know, I know that I can knit a sock in a week, so that's pretty empowering. It doesn't mean I'm gonna do it like that all year, because that would be a little crazy, but I know I can hustle up and finish a sock when I really do want to. So I had you guys vote on Instagram between this color, which was the winner, and this one right here. This is Leading Men Fiber Arts, the Upside Down. So this is probably going to be socks that I cast on at another point this year, because I think my mom would really like that. But these are going to be for my mother-in-law for Christmas, I'm pretty sure. And this is Sunrise Fiber Company, and the colorway is Oregon Coast Sunset. Now, the cool thing that I discovered yesterday about Sunrise Fiber Co. is that she is actually going to start dyeing again. So she had stopped dyeing. I got this yarn many years ago in Oregon at the yarn shop Cozy. And I know one of you said you work at Cozy, which is really cool. I love that shop. If you're ever in Eugene, Oregon or nearby, go stop at Cozy. It's amazing. That's where I got this yarn. And Sunrise Fiber Company is very, very talented. I actually got a few different yarns from her. I think that this is her as well, but I've lost the label since then, and I've knit up some other ones. Love Sunrise Fiber Company. And then I learned that she was no longer going to be dyeing or had closed her business indefinitely, but I found out the other day, or yesterday, that I think soon she's going to be relaunching and dyeing again. So that's really, really exciting. So if you want to follow that, you can go check out Sunrise Fiber Company, I think on Instagram right now. I think she's just at Sunrise Fiber Co. So got my yarn all wound up. I was gonna start this morning, but I ran into a snag, and I didn't want to make this mistake again because I made this mistake in March when I cast on my birthday socks. And I'm not making the same mistake twice, at least right now. So this yarn, I could kind of tell just looking at it, looks a little thicker than my typical sock yarn. So I pulled the label out and I looked at it, and it's 100% superwash merino, which is different because usually I knit with a 75-25. Also, very important, it says that the gauge on this is 5.75 to 6.5 stitches per inch, recommended to knit with a size 3 to 5 needle. Okay, this is very important information for me. Normally, I knit my socks on a size 1 needle. If I had started this yarn on a size 1 needle, it would have been miserable to knit with because it would have been so dense, it would have been so thick, and the socks would have been too big. So I'm really glad, like, this is a lesson learned from many, many times that I've done this with some of my sock yarns. They're thicker than others. So I guess I didn't even realize that it said a size 3. I don't know if I'm going to use a size 3. I think I'm going to use a 2 because I'm a loose knitter, so I need a size 2, most likely. But both of my size 2 needles are in my Weekender Lite, so I can't actually cast these socks on right now. So I need to get to work on my Weekender Lite so that those needles are free and I can start my socks. But again, that gives me time to finish my helical socks, so it's really like no harm done, at least these are ready. Oh, and real quickly, these are the Yarn Cozy, mini Yarn Cozy Lite. I've got a cable one and then just a plain and simple one. So those will stay nice and snug until I'm ready to work on them. But check your sock yarns because sometimes you might make a sock, you know exactly how many stitches you need and it turns out great, and then you pick another yarn and you do the same thing and it turns out too big or too small, and that could be because of the yarn base. It could be different. So just a little hot tip for you there. And then, yep, I think that's everything. So let's move on to some questions. All right, this first question is from Samantha, and actually this was through Instagram, so I don't have it verbatim to pull up because I'm using my phone to record right now. But basically she was asking a question about alternating yarns. She said she was making the Tanya sweater, and while she was working in the round, she was alternating, I think using helical knitting, and now that she's working back and forth for the front and back, she was wondering what is the best way to alternate yarns when you are knitting flat or knitting back and forth. And then she also said, I'm going to have to pick up stitches in the armhole, so how can I make sure as I'm carrying the yarns that they are neat and tidy? So I have some suggestions if you are in that situation too with a sweater where you're alternating your yarn because you have hand-dyed yarn and the two skeins can be kind of different. So when you're knitting flat, the best way to alternate is every 2 rows, is that right? Or is it every other row? Basically, every time you are ready to start a right side row, you'll switch yarns. So you'll be on a right side row, you'll knit a right side row, a wrong side row, and then switch yarns. So is that every 2 rows? Every 2 rows, I guess. Yeah, because your yarns need to stay on the right-hand side for you. They need to be on the same side. So when you're carrying your yarns, when you're doing this, you don't have to cut your yarn when you're alternating yarn. Or you don't have to cut your yarn when you're alternating skeins because you'll just carry it up the side. Make sure you don't carry it too tight or you'll have a really bunched up side where you're alternating and then a really loose side where you're not. But don't carry them too loose or else you'll have like all these loops. So you just need to keep it looser than you think and it'll all even out. So when you're carrying them, I think that I usually go like behind, like old or new behind the old yarn, but that might not be the case. Either way, as long as you pick one way and don't change it, you should be okay and you should have a tidy edge. And then one more thing, if you have an edge where you're going to pick up stitches, you might want to try slipping the first stitch. So the way that would look is like, okay, let's say you have yarn A, you're going to do a right side row, slip 1 purlwise, and then knit across, other side, slip 1 purlwise, purl across because you want the 2 sides to match. And then you come to the right side again and you are going to drop yarn A, pick up yarn B behind. It's behind right? I think so. And then slip 1 and then you have your yarn and then knit across. And then slip 1, purl across. And that slip stitch edging can really help when picking up stitches. Some people don't really like it because it's a little more gappy when you're picking up stitches. It's a matter of preference and just ease. So you'll have to experiment and see what you like, but I find that that's a little easier, especially when you're alternating yarns, to have that slip stitch edge. So hopefully that helps, Samantha. If you have more suggestions, of course, comment down here in the comments on YouTube and let her know. All right, now we have some questions here on Ravelry. Ravelry is the best place to ask questions if you want to get them answered on the podcast, but I am happy to take questions on any platform. Just let me know and I will do my best to answer it here on the podcast as well. The group is Love in Stitches, and we have, I think I just saw 760 members, which is so exciting. I love that. I think that having our make-alongs has just, grown our group so much, and that our community is getting bigger and bigger, and it's so much fun. So I've got a few questions here on Ravelry that I'm going to read off so I get them right. Okay, the first question is from Stinkzilla. She says, "Hi Natalie, I love my Fish Lips Kiss heel, but I find it a bit shallow for my heel. I am thinking I might be able to increase the depth or height of the heel by knitting a complete row at the start before beginning the Fish Lips Kiss," that's hard to say, "Fish Lips Kiss heel directions, and then knitting a complete row at the end of the heel to mirror the added row at the start. Do you think that would work, or would I run into some kind of problem? Is there another way to do this? I appreciate your thoughts." Okay, so for a base, if you haven't seen it before, the Fish Lips Kiss heel, well, neither one of those socks, because one's crochet and one's an afterthought. Hold on. Here we go. This is a Fish Lips Kiss heel. It is a version of a short row heel. It's my preferred heel, at least at the moment. I've been knitting it for quite a few years, and I really like it because it's quick, it looks really tidy for contrasting yarns, doesn't take a ton of yarn, but it is shallower than like a heel flop and gusset, so some people don't really like it. So let's talk about how to make it deeper. So depth would of course come from this portion, from the leg portion of your sock. So I don't know if adding a row would work, because then you would have a row that isn't a short row in your sock, and that could lead to like gaps and bunching, and I'm not sure if that would work exactly. I'm not 100% sure. It's a little hard to picture, but some things that I know do work are you can make it deeper if you knit down to fewer stitches here on that middle part. It does make it pointier, so you have to think about that. But I typically I have 30 stitches for the heel, because that's half of my sock, and I will go down till I only have 8 stitches in the middle instead of like 10. So that makes my heel a little bit deeper. Something else you can do, I did this on one sock before. I started it at the cuff, and I think I had 64 stitches. And so I'm trying to think how I did this. Somehow basically I had like extra stitches for the part of the Fish Lips heel that was part of the leg, so that I had more rows in this part, and then fewer rows in this part. But now I'm kind of blanking on how I did that. I don't know, I might have to go back and look at my research. But I think if you have more rows, that's going to give you more depth. So, maybe I like went down to 8 stitches in the middle when I did this portion, but then when I started this portion, I started with 10 in the middle. If you haven't knit the Fish Lips Kiss heel, you're probably like, what are you talking about? But hopefully that makes sense to those of you who have. And then hopefully here, Stinkzilla, that will give you a little bit of an idea of what to do. Yeah, I don't know if adding a row will help you, because then you'll just have gaps. So I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if that was helpful, but that's what I've done before, or at least that's what I do with my Fish Lips Kiss heel, so I do get a little more depth. All right, next question from HLandy01, and she says, "Hi Natalie, thank you for answering my question last week. I have another one for you. I have watched your podcast episodes where you talk about the West Knits Mystery Shawl Knit Along. It looks like so much fun and I would love to participate. I am an experienced knitter, but I've never knit a shawl before. Do you think it would be too ambitious to do the cowl as my first shawl?" Okay. You know what? It's September 1st. I wonder if that information is out. Because I have been, let's see, West Knits Mystery Shawl Knit Along 2020. Okay, nothing yet. I did some research. I Googled, I went on Instagram, I went on Ravelry groups and patterns, and no information yet. So fingers crossed that that comes out soon, because the West Knits Mystery Shawl Knit Along is one of my favorite parts of the fall. I've participated the last 2 years and made like just some of the most fun shawls ever. They're huge, but I've learned a lot of new techniques in them. Okay, so back to your question though. So if you are an experienced knitter, but you haven't knit a shawl before, I think you'll be totally fine with the West Knits knit along. I would say that if you're a beginning knitter, like overall, it's probably going to be a bit too challenging to start with the mystery shawl knit along, especially because part of the challenge comes from not having an image to go with what you're doing. I feel like it helps a little bit to see, and when you're doing it as a mystery, it's like you kind of have to just follow. But here's some really good things about the West Knits make-alongs. He does a video tutorial for everything. It's not the entire pattern because the pattern is paid for, but it does go through like all of the techniques, and it honestly goes through most of the pattern. So that's really helpful. And then also he typically has 2 versions because most of his designs include brioche, and there's a lot of people that don't like to do brioche. And so last year, for example, the middle panel of the shawl was all brioche, but he also had a garter stitch version. So that would make it not only easier, but also like a better option for people if they don't enjoy the brioche technique. So I definitely think you can. If you're an experienced knitter, like the only thing that's different about shawls is sometimes you have like a new kind of a cast on to get them started at the top, and then the shaping, which is like increases. So if you've done other projects with increases, like you're going to be totally fine. So I think you should definitely join in. As soon as that information comes out, I'm going to be like shouting all about it on Instagram because I'm going to be so excited. So watch West Knits, but also watch me because I will be relaying that information too. Okay, next question is from Sydney Jace. I'm a beginner and currently using bamboo straights, but looking to purchase an interchangeable circular set. The bamboo were good to learn on, but looking for something slicker, but not too slick that I would struggle with. Any suggestions? Thanks. Okay, so that's really exciting. Got started and now you are liking knitting. That is so good. Okay, so my suggestion, okay, so I guess I have a couple different things. So I'm gonna recommend the Knit Picks interchangeable sets because they are so affordable, so accessible, because they're just, you can order them online. It's really easy. But they're also just like, yeah, they're a good price and I think they're good quality. I have had mine, I can pull mine out. Okay, so mine is in a case by ERIN Lane Bags. It doesn't come in this case, but I do have my set in here. And I have had these for like over 10 years. Okay, that was a bad example because I just pulled out one that's not the same color. So I have the rainbow wooden interchangeable set, and I think these might actually be a good option for you. While they're still wood, they are like a coated wood, so they're slicker than like clover bamboo needles, which might be what you have from the craft store. They're slicker than that, but they're not as slick as metal. I really like them. Like I said, I've had them for like 10 years and they're still doing amazing. So I would highly recommend them. The reason that I have like one of a different color is because I was using this size a lot. And so I bought like another set and I just got a different color for fun. And the reason there's only 3 is because for the size 4, which is the smallest in the set, if you like sit on them or step on them, they don't survive. So it's good to have an extra one in there sometimes. So Knit Picks also has metal interchangeable needles. They've got various colors in the wood. They've also got a clear, like an acrylic one, I think, and I've never tried those before. My personal preference is to use metal needles only for like size 3 below. So for my socks and other things, I don't really like using metal needles for most projects, but that's just a preference thing. So if you are in the market for interchangeable needles, and this is the you're going from like maybe just learning on straights to an interchangeable set, I would say maybe take one step in between to order or go to the store and get a couple different needles that are fixed circulars and try them out so you can decide what you really like. So maybe if you are, decide to go with Knit Picks, you can grab like one of the metal ones, one of the wooden ones, and just try them on various projects and yarn and see what you like before you order your interchangeable set. Again, the sets are pretty affordable, so if you want to just like dive right in, like go for it, but I couldn't recommend Knit Picks like any higher. I know people if you like metal needles, I know people really like the CHIAGOO needles. I love those for my socks, the CHIAGOO red lace. So if you think you might want metal, they are slicker. But I find them still pretty easy to work with. The CHIAGOO red lace, they come in an interchangeable. Again, they're also a pretty affordable option, maybe a little bit more than Knit Picks, but still a really good option. And then I don't know if people are still obsessed with the like Luca needles, however you say those. Those are another wooden option. So that's what I've heard through the grapevine and my personal experience. So hopefully that helps you find the right needles for you. All right, the last question here. Oh my goodness, you guys, wait until you hear this. Oh man, this is from Tamara, or maybe Tamara Melton, 2011. Hi Natalie, I love your podcast. I went back and watched old episodes and I have finally caught up. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of episodes. That's awesome. I have a question about socks. My boyfriend bought me some sock yarn a few years ago and I love the yarn. I paired it with a mini and knit such cute socks. Unfortunately, the mini was 100% wool and not a superwash nylon blend like the body of the socks. They accidentally got washed in the washing machine and the 100% wool heels, toes, and cuffs felted. When I read this out loud preparing for the episode, I gasped. I was like, that's horrible. Okay, so the question is, could I cut those out and reclaim the main yarn to knit another pair of socks? What would be the best way? I did a heel flap and gusset if that helps. Thanks for the advice, Tamara. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened. And I'm also sorry that I don't know how to say your name, if it's Tamara or Tamara. I think it's Tamara. That makes sense, right? Okay, so yes, you can absolutely reclaim your yarn. So the best way to do that would be to start at the end point. Okay, start at the end point. So if you knit your socks from the toe up, then you would want to start at the cuff where you ended to unravel the socks. If you started them from the cuff down, you would want to start at the toe where you ended to unravel them. So of course, the first part you're going to have to do is cut. So you can unravel felted yarn. So you might just want to cut out just cut the toe off. Let's just say you knit these cuff down. Just cut the toe off or cut the cuff off, and then start pulling at the main color yarn until all the little pieces, because you might have had to cut into the main color, get all those little pieces out. And once you get a strand from the main yarn going, you can just start balling it. And if you've had these socks for a few years, there will probably be some places where it's fold a little bit and come together, and you can just break the connection, not break this strand of yarn, but break where it's fused together, and it'll be fine. So unravel. So you've cut off the toe or the cuff, whichever place you started. Now you're unraveling the main yarn. When you get to the heel, you probably will have to cut again, which you might have already detached your yarn anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, the other thing you're gonna run into is your ends that you've woven in. You're gonna have to find the ends that you've woven in. I find that it's helpful to use a tapestry needle to like pick out your end so that you can pull it out, because you don't want to have to cut out the whole section where you woven your end. So if you can pick it out with a needle, that actually helps a lot. So you cut out the toe, you unravel the foot, then you're gonna have to cut out the heel. I guess hopefully you can unravel it pretty close to the heel point before you just have to like cut that heel flap off. And then you can unravel the leg and then probably cut from the main yarn the cuff. So hopefully that works out. Hopefully that was helpful. But yeah, I would definitely reclaim your yarn. You might end up with like 4 balls of yarn instead of 2 between the pair of socks, just because you might have to make some extra cuts, but it'll definitely help. Now, when I reknit yarn, I don't do anything like to make it unwrinkly. This sweater actually is from reclaimed yarn, so you can see it's like curly. I just let it be curly, like I just knit with it or crochet with it that way. Some people can't stand that, and if you want to make it like straight again, that does take some work. You're gonna have to actually skein the yarn, so put it into a big giant loop so that you can soak it and those kinks can come out. And they might not even come out the first time, so that's a lot of work. So you have to skein it, and then you could do this over a chair, or if you actually have something like where you can have 2 pegs and do it, or an actual Knitty Natty tool, you can do that, soak it, let it completely dry, and then re-cake or ball it. Up to you. I wouldn't, not for socks, especially. I don't do it for sweaters either, but totally up to you. So hopefully that helps. Again, I'm so sorry that happened. That stinks. I'm sure we have lots of people with similar stories of felting stuff, so let us know if you have a good felting story down below. All right, let's do some news. So no new video this week. I'm taking a bit of a break. I need to get myself in gear to film for next week so I can have some fun new videos coming out for you guys. So hopefully I can get that going here soon, since next week is vastly approaching. But we do have the fall garment make-along going on. So that is a garment make-along that started on August 21st, and it runs all the way through November 20th. I think I put the 20th first on something the other day. November 20th, but it's in 3 month-long segments. So right now we are in the August 21st to September 20th segment, and all of the prizes for that have been revealed, and they're in an Instagram video, also on the Ravelry thread and in the Google Doc. And so all that will be linked down below. Several of those shops also have discount codes. So if you're looking for some yarn, you better go look down in the description box and then follow it to the Ravelry thread or Google Doc so that you can see those shops and their discount codes and get you some yarn on a discount. Especially if you're looking to cast on a new garment, that would really help out. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. Basically, all you have to do is be working on a garment. It can be a whip, it can be baby size, it can be adult size, it doesn't matter. Just be working on a garment and you can participate in the make-along. So there's 2 ways to enter to win prizes. Chat on the Ravelry thread, and that thread is hopping. There are people chatting in there every day and sharing what they're making and talking back. Every time you chat, you are getting more chances to win, because I will take the total number of posts and do a random number generator and pick out 3 different names for winners for this month. So yeah, get in there and chat. The more you chat, the more you have a chance to win. And then on Instagram, you can also enter by using the hashtag FALLGARMENTMAKEALONG when you post on your feed. So make sure it's a post, and make sure your Instagram account is public, or I won't be able to see your posts when I go to look at all of them. Just for fun, because I like this, if you post in your stories, tag me and use the hashtag, because then I can repost your story and share what you are working on. Now, the stories don't count to enter to win for prizes, but I just like it because then I get to see like what you're looking on like a lot easier, because the stories actually come into my inbox, and so I can see those a little bit better. So yeah, anyway, that's a selfish ask because I like those, and then I get to share them with people, which is a lot of fun. So that's what's going on for news this week. So life. It has been another busy work week, even though it's only Tuesday. I guess I can't say the whole week yet, but it is a busy work week because we are testing this week. So if you don't know, I am a teacher. My main role is to be a reading interventionist, but for also a good majority of the year, I'm a testing coordinator, and that's what I'm doing right now at the beginning of the school year. So we are doing our testing, which is always on the computer, but now we're doing it at home because we're virtual. And today, it's actually gone a lot better than I thought it was going to. But over the course of the last 2 days, we've had, it's just funny. It's like, it's really kind of, in a way, it's like a positive to kind of get to see into somebody's home, right? You get to see like, what is their home like, and you get to learn more about them and learn more about their personalities. These kids, it's just really funny. But we've had kids like fall asleep while they're taking the test and you don't want to like come in and like holler their name because you don't want to scare them, and the other kids will hear and it's embarrassing. So that's just some of the things we've had to navigate. We've had kids that like, they are testing, but then at some point you see that like they've gone and gotten into the car and gone somewhere with their family, and you're like, we're taking a test right now. But then it's also good for, like, what I've seen is, you know, we are all just trying to make it right now. And sometimes you have stuff going on in the afternoon and you just like, you have to be there for your kid, but you also have to be working, but you also have to run errands, and you're staying on Zoom and we're getting in the car. Like, it's just, you know, we're all just trying to make it happen right now. So whatever your role is with school this year, whether you have one or not, or if you have a student, or if you are a student, like, props to you for making it happen, because sometimes you just got to make it happen. That's how I feel. But anyway, that's what's really going on this week in my life. Other than that, we are just, I don't know, being us. Nothing new really going on here. Now, bringing me joy this week, I am really just feeling fall. Like, I want it to be truly fall, and I wish we had all the normal things of fall. We're still going to try to make somewhat normal things happen. So, you know, usually for us, every single Saturday in the fall, we are watching college football. We're going somewhere, like we're going to an actual game, or we are going to meet our friends out somewhere to watch football. So of course that's not happening this year. There's a chance we'll get to go to a game or two. I'm really hoping if we can do that safely. But, you know, we're still going to be watching, you know, in a safe way on the weekend. So trying to make that happen. But this weekend is Labor Day here in the States. So we have Monday off, which is really exciting. And I'm hoping that we're going to decorate for Halloween this weekend. So how early do you guys, if you decorate for Halloween, how early do you decorate? Because I used to think October was like the perfect time, but now we're kind of on Disney time, and you know, they've been decorated for like 3 weeks, so we're actually behind. But we like Halloween a lot, so it'd be fun to have the decorations up for 2 months rather than just 1 month. So hopefully we're gonna do that this weekend. I have lots of fun stuff to share, and I will be sharing all of that probably over on my lifestyle Instagram. So follow me at all of this and that if you want to see that. That's my lifestyle, like, Instagram and YouTube channel. So all of that stuff is over there. But yeah, so excited. And then as reflected in my knitting, I've got like my fall project bags out and my fall markers, and I have some Halloween ones too that will come in October. I'm really excited. So that's what's going on over here in our household. So I think that is everything. Look at me, I'm back. I feel so good right now. I feel like I was in a slump. I mean, understandably so, right? Since March. Something started in March that was kind of a bummer, right? So I feel like I'm finally back into my knitting groove. My next big push after these projects is also to get back into doing some designs. It's been a few months since I've had a design come out, and I have lots of ideas. I just got to make it happen. So thank you to those of you who have checked in on me on the crochet yarn cozy. It's coming, I promise. But yeah, so excited. I'm feeling really good and excited to make that happen. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week with 2 new videos. Bye.